Okay, so my name is Jesus Morales, and today I'm going to talk about, give you guys some information about bottled water and tap water. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that most of you in here drink water, as I can see. You have water bottles and stuff on your table. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you have bought some from the vending machines outside, or maybe you guys fill your water bottles up with the water fountain. So water, is an essential to living life as a human being. So yeah, the ways that I'm going to talk about of getting water is either bottled water or tap water that we get from fountains and different things like that. So in the research that I looked up from the Environmental Protection Agency and the FDA and different sites that I have found, I'm going to inform you guys how they bottle up the water and where it comes from and stuff. So the first one is bottled water. The bottled water industry didn't really start until about probably like the 1970s when plastic was able for commercial use. So once plastic was able for like large production, that's when the bottled water industry really started. About 25% of the bottled water comes from actually tap water that they just pretty much get from the water sources like in the local areas, and they just bottle them up for you guys. So those companies are like the Coke and Pepsi that have like Dasani and Aquafina. The other 75% of the water that they bottle up comes from water springs and aquifers. So an aquifer, this is a picture of pretty much a basic aquifer, and what it is you see the stream that goes and it turns into the water seeps down to the floor, which is groundwater, and this is the aquifer right here. This is a confined aquifer, so that's like a fresh, pristine water, and then the unconfined aquifer is just like water that lays on top, just pretty much stays there, you can still drink. And the way that we pump the water up is called the artesian well. So it's this one right here, or this one, and we pump that up as wells. Many of you have probably seen just like a simple basic well that people used to pump up in the old days, but they're a lot more sophisticated now, and that's how they kind of look. So Fiji, if you ever read the back of the Fiji label, they always claim that they pump their water from an artesian aquifer, but all water pretty much comes from artesian aquifer, so you guys shouldn't really think it's anything special. They just make it look all fancy and nice and neat and stuff. Bottled water is regulated by the the Food and Drug Administration, since it's considered, a product that's sold by the food category. So it is really less regulated than tap water, since tap water has to be regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency. So let me talk about tap water. So here in America, we are really lucky that our tap water is clean, the cleanest form of water in pretty much the whole entire world. If you ever go to a different country, like me, I've been to Mexico, and you drink that water there, you'll probably be sick for about a week and have just the runs, and not be comfortable because their water is really not that safe. It's the same thing if you anywhere else, like Europe or stuff like that. So we're really lucky that our tap water is met up to the standard. So because like us, we grew up in an era where we kind of don't really see tap water as safe drinking water, just because we have so much bottled water. But before bottled water, it was tap water, and that's the only thing they really had. So yeah. So here in Orange County, our tap water comes from the neighboring mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains and Big Bear and stuff, and it comes down to the lake from the Santa Ana River and goes to the groundwater. I got the information from the Orange County Water District. A gallon of tap water costs about 0.033 cents, so that's about 3 cents per gallon. If let's say you go to a vending machine and you buy a 16-ounce bottle of Dasani water, that costs about $1.50. So you could see the difference of 16 ounce. So if you were to buy, I think, yeah. So if you buy one 16 ounce, it's $1.50. If you buy 8 bottles of 1 gallon of Dasani water, it would be $12. So would you guys rather pay $12 for Dasani water, or pay 3 cents for a gallon of tap water? So I'm pretty sure I would pay 3 cents for a gallon of tap water. So yeah. So yeah, I briefly talked about a few things of the differences between those two, and the bottled water isn't really that easy. There is some benefits to it. Everyone really does enjoy the luxury of just being able to grab a bottle of water and just take it with you, and not have to worry about filling it up and stuff. But it really is an expensive luxury. Like, you can kind of compare it to like driving like a Ferrari, or just taking the bus to school or something. It really goes up the price when you really think about it. So, I mean, like I said, it's pretty much like a luxury to just take it. I mean, if you guys really do want to switch to like just drinking tap water, you could always get like a bottle like of these and then just fill it up for free, and pretty much never pay for tap water. So, I mean, a lot of people complain that they don't like the taste of tap water, so you could always just get like this one right here, which is the filter one. I'm pretty sure you guys have probably seen those around, like different places. So what they do is they filter out the different minerals that the tap water has, but so it doesn't taste as bad as as people would think it does. So even people think that it tastes bad, but they really can't tell the difference when they don't know. Like for me, I work at a catering business, and people always ask, oh, what kind of water is it? So we just tell them, oh, it's water from the jug, but it's really just tap water. And everyone's like, oh, okay. No one never knows the difference. Like I've never had one person like be able to tell the difference between bottled water and tap water. So, yeah. So in the end, water is just water. Like I said before, we're really lucky here in the United States to be able to have the actual luxury of having water be bottled for us and stuff, and not be able to get sick for weeks from it, like other countries where a lot of people die from the different diseases that water, like the bacteria that it carries. So we're really lucky that the water is cheap for us here and it's convenient, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Carlos, what did you think?
It was good. In the beginning, it was kind of rusty, but you tend to pull it off in the middle and the end. And things to improve, it's kind of like he had the paper sheet. I think my suggestion would be no parts. And there was this like 8-second time that he would like stop for a sec to go back on his track. And what I like about him, what I like about this PowerPoint was the physical water bottle and the image.
Like the combination there. Okay. All right. There's no attention device. You start with your name and the topic. Then you kind of give us a justification. Actually, I think the justification, the idea that everybody here drinks water and many of us have water bottles on the table, that should be your attention device. That's the way you ought to start. The topic's identified. I don't know exactly what you're going to be saying about it, so I think that the purpose statement needs to be a little bit more specific. You do suggest before you get into the speech that most of your information is going to come from the EPA, so that's a general citation. But it's not very particular on the individual pieces of information later on in the speech. There was one point where you did cite some specific information about Orange County water, for instance, and I thought that was fine, but you need to be citing the information at the time you present the information. So be careful about just trying to cover all the bases at the beginning. It's a two-part structure. And it's mostly a comparison that's being made, but it did feel like you went back and forth between those comparisons pretty frequently instead of talking about one and talking about the other. It just seemed like you were bouncing back and forth between the two. I always knew what the two things were that you were dealing with, but there's not any consistency in how you're dealing with that information. The visuals are nice and large. They're easy to see. I think it's easy. I thought the comparison on cost was pretty good. By the way, that's 0.3 cents, not 3 cents a gallon. So it's actually less than a third of a penny, not 3 pennies for a gallon of water. So you want to make sure that you get those things right, because it's right there on the screen. Anybody else can see it, and they're going to be thinking the same kinds of things. On delivery issues, you have a tendency, you don't mumble exactly, but you do kind of swallow your own words, you know, and you need to, like I said, we're going to work on this more, but you need to keep your head up and project a little bit, and I think it will come across a little more effectively. All right, thank you.